So you're not sure whether the FBI report is for public consumption, but
Congressman, I simply can't comment on a report I haven't seen.
I understand, but I guess what the question is you are a PhD, and when these people are talking as, you might say, credible witness on issues, especially when someone has a scholarly background, a PhD, that you would expect they would go to all sources, especially ones that were directly related to investigating a specific charge. But you did not go.
I don't think
you didn't try to seek out the FBI report.
I don't think that FBI report was publicly available. I believe it's under classification.
But the operative words is "I think," which means you did not.
I'll be happy to look at the report and come back to you with my observations if you want to classify it.
Usually if one was to be someone to argue a case, they would at least take the time to see if something was available or not. And Dr. Moore...
Ordinarily, Congressman, FBI reports of this nature are not available, and my colleague himself has said he didn't see the report.
Okay, well, I'm not sure whether the FBI report is available or if the conclusion was available. My guess is that at the very least the conclusion that the FBI made was made available, and that is,
I'm not sure if that's
your understanding that the FBI concluded is that your testimony today that the charge that these people were still a terrorist organization was debunked. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That was the point of the investigation, and again, they didn't find anything. This is my unofficial discussion with numerous members of the OGA personnel who were there on site for the several months of this investigation.
Yeah, and when you are suggesting that all 3,400 people there were questioned by the FBI,
all of them were questioned by the FBI and/or other representatives that had arrived, perhaps 100 outside personnel, very efficient, organized interrogation process.
Now, let me just note that I've been involved politically since I was in my teens, and I have seen different organizations evolve into different things, and many of the Iranian exile community still remember the MEK as an organization that was involved in assassinating members of the Shah's government. By the way, not to say that the Shah was not a dictatorship as well. And when people are struggling for democracy against a dictatorship, usually you have to use force. But that still would not necessarily say that what the MEK was doing was acceptable.
The MEK use of violence did not stop in its opposition to the Shah's regime. It continued in the aftermath.
Yes.
And it's continued throughout the aftermath of past 30 years. And it continued against Iranian civilians within Iran and Iraqis within Iraq once they relocated there. So it's a long history of violence.
Well, let me just note, very nice. This is a territory that is filled with violence. I mean, whether you're talking about the Shah or whether you're talking about the Mullah regime, you're talking about incredible violence. I would be surprised if there was any organization that existed that wasn't in some way involved with the use of force, at least to protect themselves.
Oh, I disagree with that. Within Iran, there are many opposition movements, such as the Green Movement, that explicitly rejects violence for civil disobedience and protests and demonstrations.
Or like the American Revolution, where wait a minute, no, we did use violence there, didn't we? Let me suggest that I would ask our friends in the audience not to applaud, or to be fair to all of our witnesses.
Come on.
You've got a lot of courage. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here today, knowing that you're going to get some very important questions. So your suggestion is the MEK today has been branded and as unacceptable by the leaders of the Green Movement in Iran?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, is that the case? Do anyone know about that detail? Do agree, disagree?
I'm not sure it's going to be an agreement or disagreement, but I remember in 2009, when all the riots and everything were going on, the MEK was very, very quiet, and they were not involved in any of those activities. So to say they've been accepted by the Green Movement, I don't believe so. I do believe the National Council for Assistance of Iran, Maryam Rejali's other organization,